ACF tournaments could be shortened over by 6 o'clock. Your first starter for 10. In this country, discontent with the regime of Augusto Bernardino Leguía gave Victor Haya de la Torre the support of the lower classes for his party APRA. A more recent president of this country ran for the party Cambio 90. This country's current currency is the Nuevo Sol, which was introduced at 1 million times the value of its former currency. This country suffered frequent terrorist attacks by the Shining Path. This series lies between the Passion and Lyman series, for 10 points each. Name a set of 4 spectral line emissions of hydrogen atoms that are in the visible spectrum. Answer, please. That's the Balmer series. The equation used to calculate the Balmer series uses a constant named for this Swedish physicist, whose namesake equation is used to calculate the wavelengths of emission spectra of other elements.
Do you know Mr. Brolly is Swedish? Or?
No, the only one I figure is Sheila.
Sheila? I know, that's Rydberg. Rydberg's empirical observations were justified with a theoretical explanation by this Danish physicist, who is best known for his model of the atom in which electrons were theorized to orbit the nucleus.
More?
In this work, one character enters the Garter Inn disguised as Mr. Brooke after receiving a warning from Pistol and Nip.
The Merry Wives of Winter.
Excellent. Good job.
For 10 points each, name the following people who painted Pietas. A depiction of a Pietà was once attached to the bottom of this man's Colonna altarpiece. This Renaissance artist is better known for decorating the Stanza della Segnatura, which contains his Disputa and School of Athens.
Raphael.
This man's Pietà was painted in the 1560s, around the same time of his Byzantine-influenced Dormition of the Virgin. Later works by him, such as The Disrobing of Christ and View of Toledo, show the influence of mannerism.
El Greco.
An alternate title of this German surrealist's Pietà is Revolution by Night. His bird-related works include those featuring the creature Lop Lop and his 1924 painting Two Children Are Threatened by a Nightingale.
German surrealist. Like...
My finger on this.
Answer, please. No, that is Max Ernst. Starter. One theory that applies this effect at a molecular level can be tested by measuring the dn over ds values of gene sequences. Sewell Wright demonstrated that the likelihood that an allele fixes itself in a population experiencing only this effect is equal to that allele's initial frequency in the population. Kimura's theory of neutral molecular evolution explains most variation as a result of this process. This mechanism is most effective in small populations, such as those created by the founder effect. For 10 points, name this force of evolution that describes the random fluctuations in allelic frequencies. Yes. These groups of raiders attacked many cities around the Mediterranean during the 12th century BC, but their origins are unknown. For 10 points each, name these groups that were given their name by the Egyptians when they attacked alongside Libyans during the reign of the pharaoh Meneptah.
The Sea Peoples. Is it the Sea Peoples?
Yes. The Tsheka tribe of Sea People may be linked to this ancient city which was excavated by Heinrich Schliemann and Frank Calvert.
Troy.
Another hypothesis concerning the Sea Peoples links them with this people who ruled Gaza and Ascalon. In the Old Testament, they fought the kingdom of Israel and their warriors included Goliath.
Philistines.
For a full 30. One leader of this event called it a blood sacrifice necessary to invigorate...
The Easter Rising.
Very good.
Very good job.
He wrote a collection of essays about Anglophone philosophy in the first half of the 20th century called The Linguistic Turn. For 10 points each, name this American philosopher and literary theorist most famous for Philosophy and the Mirror of Nature.
That's tricky.
White. But I don't think that's real.
Answer, please.
White.
That is Richard Rorty. Michael Dummett identified the work The Foundations of Arithmetic by this philosopher and mathematician as the beginning of the linguistic turn. This man also wrote the paper On Sense and Reference and invented a contemporary formal logic.
That's Frege, I think. Frege?
Yes. This other mathematician and philosopher wrote on the concept of number, but he is more famous as the founder of phenomenology.
Hegel, Husserl? Heidegger? Phenomenology.
Yes, sounds like Husserl.
Husserl.
Correct. 20 points. In the eschatology of this religion, Saoshyant brings about the final renovation of the world. In its scripture, Yima repeatedly uses a seal and dagger to make the earth grow. After death, some of its practitioners are placed on a dachma. The primary...
Zoroastrianism.
Correct.
We're running out of religions now.
The severe stutterer Billy Bibbit is one of the patients described by Chief Bromden in this novel. For 10 points each, name this book set in a mental hospital in which Randall P. McMurphy rebels against the cruel nurse Ratchet, helping more of his fellow patients in the process than the hospital had.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
This author wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest after becoming disillusioned with the state of psychiatry while working in a mental ward. He also wrote about an Oregon logging family in Sometimes a Great Notion.
Kesey?
Yes, Tom Wolfe presented an account of Kesey and his merry pranksters in this work of new journalism that detailed much of their psychedelic drug use while on a cross-country road trip in a school bus.
The electric Kool-Aid acid test? The electric Kool-Aid acid test.
Precisely.
Good job.
This artist's equestrian sculpture of Louis XIV was so disliked by Louis that it was changed into another work. His collaborations include the Fountain of the Old Boat with his father Pietro and the Palazzo Barberini with his rival Francesco Borromini. Cerberus sits below the title female as she struggles to escape in one of his works. Another work shows a Trojan hero carrying his father while his son...
Bernini.
Yes.
Not the idea.
Einhard and Alcuin of York worked for this ruler. For 10 points each, name this Frankish king with a court at Aachen and the namesake Renaissance, who was also the conqueror of Lombardy and son of Pepin the Short. Leo III crowned him Emperor of the Romans on Christmas.
Charlemagne.
At this battle, which occurred after a Frankish campaign against the Muslims in Spain, Charlemagne's rearguard under Roland was ambushed by Basques in the Pyrenees.
I want to say Roncevaux, but I think that might be the pass. I don't know if that's the battle.
Go
Go for it. Or Roncevaux?
Yes, the Battle of Roncevaux Pass.